County Commissioners zoning hearing. It is 9:30 in the morning and we're ready to go. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Bernard.
Here.
Commissioner Kerner.
Here.
Commissioner Marino.
Here.
Commissioner McKinley.
Here.
Commissioner Sachs. Mayor Weinroth.
I am here.
Vice Mayor Weiss.
Here.
Commissioner Kerner, would you please do the prayer and Pledge of Allegiance? Everybody please stand.
Thank you, Mayor. Father, guide us in the duties we are about to perform. Give us wisdom to make the best decisions for all of our citizens. Help us to remember that no problem is too small to escape concern and perplexity too great to resist solution. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you very much, Commissioner Kerner, and we were going to prove that we can make those decisions with great speed and deliberation. Okay. Do we have notice?
Yes, we do.
All right. Can I have a motion to approve the, proof of publication? Second. I have a second. I have a motion by Commissioner Kerner, second by the Vice Mayor. All in favor, all opposed. The proof of publication is accepted. May I have swearing in by our counsel?
All those wishing to testify or speak on today's items, please rise and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right. Mr. Rutter, do we have any amendments to the agenda?
You do, and I will ask Wendy to guide us through them.
Yes.
Okay.
On our amendments to the agenda, on the consent agenda, item number 5, which is DOA 2021-1031, Chabad Lubavitch has a renumbering for zoning landscape conditions from 234 to 123. On the regular agenda, item number 9, LGA 2021-9, we're looking to modify and replace 5B3 under policy 1.5-U in Exhibit 1. Item number 10, SVPDD CA 2021-460, all seasons. There's an amendment to planning conditions 1 and 2 to fix the reference to the LGA application number. And we have item number 11, DOA 2021-1576 for Melrose to add a site design condition number 6. It was part of our staff review and analysis and needs to be included in the exhibit.
Thank you, Wendy. All right, I'm looking for a motion to approve the motion of the agenda as amended. I have a motion by Commissioner Kerner and a second by Commissioner Sachs. All in favor, all opposed. That's approved 7-0. Very good. We move on. We have postponement and remands. I have one request to speak on a postponement, so I'm going to allow that, even though it's going to be no motion required, but would you please give me the postponement first, and then we'll allow the speaker.
The postponement item is Portman Industrial MUPD, and it's item number 1, ZVABN DOA 2021-1529. The applicant has requested the postponement to Thursday, September 22nd. It is an administrative approval due to the timing of the request, and so there's no motion necessary by the board. Staff supports it.
Very good. All right, so this is not going to be a matter for us to discuss. It's a matter of right, but I will allow the speaker to have their 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Jennifer Davis, and that will be the only speaker on that item.
Thank you, and I do understand that I'm only allowed to speak on the postponement. I'm not referencing any items in the project itself, but I do urge all members of this commission during the time that we have while this is postponed to take very careful care about this project. And I'm sure you're going to hear from the agent. I'm sure you're going to hear from the community. But I strongly urge all of you to listen very closely to the community. This is not something that we want, and your community is speaking very forcefully on it. And I urge you to hold them to every standard of every law that you possibly can. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and certainly you can't read anything into it, but I'm sure the reason that we're not discussing it today is the developers thinking about this. So thank you very much. We're going to move on now to remands.
Yes, item number 2, DOA 2021-418 Sherbrooke Estates PUD. The applicant has requested to remand back to the Development Review Officer so staff can re-review a redesign. So once it's recertified, it will proceed back to Zoning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners. No motion is necessary.
Okay, again, this is administrative, so we'll accept the remand on item B2. All right, it's time for the consent agenda. And if you're like me, you probably have a lot of disclosures to make this morning, so I will go through the disclosures from left to right. Commissioner Sachs, would you start the festivities?
Well, thank you very much for that opportunity. On the consent agenda, item number 3, Mr. Mayor, if we could start there. Mountain Business Center, MUPD. I've had verbal communications and a meeting with Jennifer Morton, Malcolm Butters, and John Channing. Should I proceed on to the next
Yeah,
item?
let's do all the consent agenda,
Okay, very
Commissioner.
good. Again, on the consent agenda, moving to item number 7, Les Farms Landscape. Verbal communications
You're
and...
skipping 4, 5, and 6. You have no disclosures on either of those?
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure for the record. Okay.
Verbal communications on item number 7, meeting with Joe Mulvihill, Melissa McGowan, Roger Fina, Tim Linkus, Sandy Linkus, David Vargas, Andy Sewell, Lois Sewell, and Senzi Fazio. I have received and filed written correspondence and emails, and that concludes my my issues with the consent agenda.
Very good. And again, with respect to number 8, you have no disclosures. Very good. Commissioner Bernard, would you please give us your disclosures?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In regards to consent item number 3, I've had verbal communication with Jennifer Morton, Lauren McClellan, Malcolm Butters, John Channing. In regards to Last Farms Landscaping, I've had verbal communication with Jennifer Morton and Lauren McClellan. And what I'm not sure about is some of those folks that Commissioner Sachs mentioned, so I would like to incorporate them also by reference, so just to make sure. So I'll add Joe Mulvihill, Susan Mulvihill, Melissa McEwen, Roger Fina, Team Linkus, Cindy Linkus, David Vargas, Andy Sewell, Lois Sewell, and Cezi Fazio. And if anyone needs to use this, they can.
Very good. Belt and suspenders. And of course, on 4, 5, 6, and 8, you have no disclosures. All right, Commissioner Kerner, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. I have disclosure only relating to agenda item 7 on the consent agenda. It's Lois and Andy Sewell, Lauren McClellan, Jennifer Morton, CC Fazio, Tim and Sandy Linkus, Dave Vargas, Roger Fina, Joe Mulvihill, and Suzanne Mulvihill. I did receive correspondence.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Kerner. Commissioner McKinley, you're up.
I guess there's a benefit to having spent a lot of time working in Tallahassee and Washington when these meetings were occurring. On consent agenda item number 7, I have verbal communications with Jennifer Morton and Lauren McClellan, and we received email. That's all I've got.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner
What's your
Marino.
name?
Boy, I'm telling you, where are these name tags?
Maria Gloria Gabriela Marino. Say that 3 times fast. Yes, I have nothing on 3, 4, 5, and 6, but on 7, I have written communications from the applicant, Jennifer Morton, Susan Mulvihill, Thousand Friends of Florida, Sierra Club, Waxahachie Group, verbal communications, and also met with Jennifer Morton, Lauren McClellan, Susan Mulvihill, Lois Sewell, Andy Sewell, Tim Linkus, Joe Mulvihill, Melissa McCowan, CC Fazio, Robbie Durrell, Roger Fina, and Dave Vargas.
You had a bigger party than I did. Okay, Vice Mayor, your turn.
Thank you, Mayor. I have disclosure on item number 7 only of the consent agenda. And I had verbal communication with Jennifer Morton, Lauren McClellan, Brian Seymour, Mark Levy, Lois Sewell, Andy Sewell, Dave Vargas, Sandy Linkus, Tim Logan, Joe Mulvihill, Suzanne Mulvihill, Roger Fina, Melissa McKeon, and my office received on various emails.
Did they bring you a pizza or something with that party?
Unfortunately,
No.
no.
Okay. All right, my turn. On the consent agenda, item 3, Mountain Business Center, MPUD. I spoke with Jennifer Morton, Lauren McClellan, and Malcolm Butters, and have correspondence of record. Nothing on 4, 5, and 6. On 7, Lost Farms Landscape, I also had a party with Jennifer Morton, Lauren McClellan, Brian Seymour, Mark Levy, Lois Annie Sewell, Dave Vargas, Sandy and Tim Linkus, Tim Logan, Joe and Suzanne Mulvihill, Melissa McKeon, Roger Fina, and I have multiple correspondence which has been received and filed, and nothing on item 8. And I think that does it for disclosures. All right, anybody want to pull any of those consent items? Seeing nothing, do we have some cards, Commissioner Kerner?
We do, Mayor. On the consent agenda, on agenda item E7, we'll have Drew Martin first. Then on agenda items 8E, we'll have Sam Citron and Drew Martin once again.
All right, why don't we take, Mr. Martin, how are you today?
Good. I think Sam wants 7 too. I had the wrong number in my head, so I apologize.
I'm sorry, you only get one bite of the apple.
That's okay. I don't want 2 bites. I want just 1 bite, but I just want to make sure he gets the right bite, too.
Okay, go for it.
Drew Martin, I'm here on behalf of the Loxahatchee Group of the Sierra Club. Again, our argument is the same, then not make changes to the Ag Reserve to follow the existing zoning. We attended the meeting. We're sympathetic. I understand their business plan isn't working out. Our concern is, however, is the piecemeal approach. Instead of the commission establishing how they're going to operate with the Ag Reserve, which we thought was the purpose of the workshop, which apparently wasn't because nothing's really been worked out, we are seeing the continued nickel and diming of the Ag Reserve by changing things based on an individual requests. And when you see all those names, those are all people that want to undo the Ag Reserve. I mean, we know a lot of those people don't believe in protecting the Ag Reserve. And so our concern is that this is, ending the planning idea and just turning this into a free-for-all. Every time somebody wants a change, they come to the commission and they ask for a change. And the commission isn't really nobody has a plan because every time they ask for a change, they're changing the plan. That's what they're here for, to ask you to change the plan. What we want you to do is have a plan and stick to it. We think agriculture is important. We think from a climate change standpoint, agriculture is important. We're concerned about turning this into a parking lot, which I guess this is the concept. This is going to be used for the park vehicles. It's basically going to be a parking lot. We understand there's a need for that. But the question is, should we take a piecemeal approach? The other problem is that we're trying to avoid moving this further and further west. This property is very far west. It's on State Road 7. We would like you to push this development to the corridors, but not on State Road 7, a congested State Road 7 that is already very busy. So, we have to take the unpopular approach and say, what's good for the whole general public? Now, I'm not a big fan of landscaping. I'm not against landscaping. I have people periodically do landscaping in my yard, but I don't water, I don't fertilize, and so I don't need extensive landscaping. I think one of the issues is we need to go back and reevaluate why we have so much landscaping need, and that's because we overwater, we overfertilize, we use plants that need to be constantly maintained. We would like to see the county move to a more holistic approach and educate, not penalize, but educate your public. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Our second speaker.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Second and final speaker on the consent is Sam Citron, and will also receive and file from the Sierra Club letters from Sierra Club's council.
Without objection.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sam Citron, Sierra Club. I'm here again, same remarks more or less. We want to conserve the Ag Reserve, conserve the environment, and conserve the agreement, the bond issuance, so $99 million bond issue, which we're consistently breaching. This is the voters voted on this, and we're here. I'm here consistently. We are here on a volunteer basis. We like to feel that maybe we're making some headway. I've attended some meetings elsewhere. There's some people who have really fought hard for this cause. Maggie Hutrella, which you know. Me, I've gone to meetings. I've gone to meetings where I was the one comment, and right away says, put the microphone down. Or and I wasn't even finished with the meeting. Somebody didn't even have time like this. Your time is up, you know. But we persist because we feel we're on the right side of history, you know. And I wish you to take that into consideration. That's all I have for today. Thank you.
And we thank you for your comments. Okay, we have the consent agenda. I'm looking for a motion to approve. I have a motion by Commissioner Kerner, second by Commissioner Bernard. Seeing no further discussion on the consent agenda, all in favor, all opposed, show the consent agenda approved in its entirety, 7-0. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move now on to item 9, which is a large-scale land use or future land use and text amendment for the All Seasons Delray Beach. And we will take a presentation from staff and the petitioner.
Item number 9, LGA 2021-9, is All Seasons. The staff report is under F9 on pages 1 through 69. There are conditions of approval on page 10, and staff is recommending approval. And we will turn it over to the agent and then staff.
Mr. Brophy, always great to see you.
Great. Good morning. And we do have a presentation. If this project has been around for quite some time.
Let me see from my colleagues, does anybody need a presentation at this point? I think we
That
can
would have
save
been
you
my
a little bit
question.
of time this morning. Any
Thank you.
questions for the petitioner? No? All right. I'll look for a motion to approve F9. Yeah, let's do a disclosure. Sorry. All right. We're going to start from right to left just to mix things up. Commissioner McKinley, you are, I'm sorry.
No disclosure on that.
Oh, no disclosure. Never mind. And
On 10, yeah.
Commissioner Kerner, you always help me, but just
I
let
just
me into
posed the
ditch.
question, Mayor. You answered it. So.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve. I have a motion by Commissioner Bernard, second by Commissioner Kerner. All in favor, say it. We have cards? No, I don't think we have cards. Do we have cards? Commissioner Kerner, you're letting me down.
My apologies. We do have, I believe, Drew Martin on 9. Let me double check.
On 9.
The only one I have on 9 is Mr. Martin, unless I missed somebody, but
All right, we will certainly entertain comments even if you're filling out your card right now. Mr. Martin, are you going to step up on this item?
I'm going to step up.
All right, we'll give you your 3 minutes.
I was hoping to have a nice presentation so I could develop some of my critiques based on, so I'm disappointed. But again, we're concerned about the piecemeal approach to the Ag Reserve and step-by-step evisceration of what we think is a good plan, and that was to preserve agriculture. Now, I know this is an aggregate living facility. Am I correct, Mr. Developer? I guess aggregate. So, it increases it to 8. It increases the density. So we're very concerned about the increase in density. We're concerned about moving the preserve lands out of the area. We're concerned that we're losing a lot of the agriculture and preserve. We think that there should be more holistic look at why you want to preserve agriculture and why you want to preserve this land. We think there are issues with flooding that could come in the future if you continue your step-by-step development. So again, we encourage you to look at this thoroughly. The requirement of 50% off parcel is a concern to us. We would like to see the lands preserved on the sites as much as possible, and we would like to see the on-site to be not for civil but for open space. We think there needs to be more tree canopy and open space in the Ag Reserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Then the final speaker will be Sheila Calderon on agenda item 9.
Ms. Calderon?
Hi. Sorry to be late.
No
Sheila
problem.
Calderon, Green Acres, Florida. Thank you for taking my card. I'm not going to be very long. I'm going to be very brief. You won't need my 3 minutes. I've been coming here since 2000, okay? And speaking before the commissioners, I can't tell you how many times it has been related to the agricultural reserve and the preservation of it, okay? As it happens today, when I was going through my notes, or yesterday, I found a booklet, okay, that had to do with the agricultural reserve. It was produced at the time concerning the GL Homes developments that were going on. And it goes back possibly 10 years, okay? I don't know exactly how long. But we are dealing with the same issues today that we were dealing with then. And if you continue to give away little parcels, to give away small parcels of the agricultural reserve, development is not compatible with agriculture. And we need our agricultural reserve to remain in preservation and to continue as agriculture. We need that, okay? We supply the whole northeastern portion of the country during the winter months with our vegetation, along with the fact that we can go to our stores and buy local fruits and vegetables. How wonderful is that? It gets to the point where we'll only be able to get imported fruits and vegetables. That would be sad. I thank you for your time, and I do hope that you are listening.
No, we are listening, and we thank you for taking the time to come up here and speak to us. Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an item that was approved before I took office. And I feel that, and I've said this to the applicants as well, that I might not have approved it if it had started with me, but I will always recognize situations, contracts that were approved before I took office. And this is why this is moving forward. There is also, however, a condition that there will be public use in the and I want to make sure that our staff sees that, and I wonder if, before I even continue, if someone from our staff could tell us exactly what that condition is, so that the concerns of others about not having open space in the Ag Reserve will be addressed. Because one of the conditions was that there was going to be outside of the gated community, so the gated area, that there would be a public space open to anybody, the public, that wanted to come by, and it would be a walking trail with various native trees and vegetation. And is that true? Is that exactly what's going to happen?
Mr. Brophy, you're recognized to respond.
Thank you. Yes, so that's what we agreed to, that we would use that area, the one plus or minus 1 acre on-site as a passive park for use by both the residents of the CLF as well as the public in the way you described. And just as a note, the other 5 acre off-site is actually preserved on the west side of 441, which will be bona fide ag.
Very good. Thank you very much. Just wanted to clarify that, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Sachs. Boy. Okay. I think I have a motion here by Commissioner Kerner, seconded by Commissioner Bernard made the motion. Commissioner Kerner seconded the motion. All right. Seeing no further discussion, we have a motion to adopt the ordinance for All Seasons Delray Beach, future land use, and text amendment. All in favor? All opposed? Show that as it being approved 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Brophy, for your attention on this.
Also have number 10.
All right, now we're going to move on to 10, which is the follow-up to this, and we will do disclosures now on this item. Again, All Seasons Delray Beach, and we will start with Commissioner McKinley.
picking on the south end today. We received written communications. I spoke with Neil Schiller, Peter Odorico, and Jeff Brophy. And Peter, I'm sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Marino.
Yes, thank you. I've had received emails from residents, Thousand Friends of Florida, Sierra Club, Loxahatchee Group, and met with the applicant, Neil Schiller and Jeff Brophy.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. On item number 10, I had verbal communication with Neil Schiller, Edwin Muller, Jeff Brophy, and Peter Odorico. Also, we received email correspondence.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Sacks.
Thank you, Mayor. On this item, item 10, I've had verbal communications and meetings with Neil Schiller, Jeff Brophy, Juan Casedo, Peter Odorico, Paolo Luptek, Rob Levy, and we've received and filed the written correspondence and emails.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On item number 10, I've met with Neil Schiller, Jeff Brophy, Sarah Battle, Paula Lupata, I'm not sure.
I hope you get it right because I have to say the same name.
Marcus Jacobson, Peter Odorico, and Leslie Besnat. And I've had written correspondence, and I'll file with the clerk. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Bernard. Commissioner Kerner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On agenda item 10, I met or spoke with Neil Schiller, Sarah Oglesby Battle, Jeff Brophy, Peter Adorcio, and Paola Luptak, and filed correspondence.
Okay, my turn. All Seasons Delray Beach, item 10, verbal communications with Neil Schiller, Edwin Muller, Jeff Brophy, Peter Odorico, Paola Luptek, Sarah Battle, and Juan Casedo, and I have correspondence of record. That does the disclosures.
I'm just glad you got my name right. That's good.
Yeah, where are you? All right, do we need any conversation or any presentation? I'm looking for a motion. You have 2 cards?
Yes, Mr. Mayor,
All
on
right.
agenda item 10, if I may, Sheila Calderon and Drew Martin.
Mr. Martin?
Getting my exercise, jumping up and down here. Again, thank you, commissioners.
We're giving you your exercise today.
Right, it's very good. I feel energized. Again, I guess we have to be the skunk here and, be against this. But, I think that when you look at the Ag Reserve right now, I talked before about how this is increasing density. And I'm glad that they're going to do some preservation, off-site for agriculture. But if we do the land swap, we know that'll undo a lot of that protection. So, again, we wish that you had a plan, that we were going to stick with, so we knew where we were going, because we really feel uncomfortable with what is just a piecemeal approach to the Ag Reserve. Now, the traffic out there, and again, this is going to increase significantly the amount of car trips. This is something that, if you go out there right now and you drive, you're going to see that this is going to provide an additional 800 trips. And it's still, it's pretty much gridlock. I don't see how I don't think you can just keep widening the roads. State Road 7 used to be a fairly quiet highway. It is, pandemonium out there now. And, the one guy driving 150 miles an hour, I don't know, that doesn't have anything to do with development. But, I hate to see, fatal car accidents. I really wish that when we workshop this as a commission, that you had come up with a more solid direction for staff as to where you want to take this. That's my big concern. This is a very piecemeal approach. I realize this is going to pass. I'm not expecting you to vote against it. But what we're saying is, where are we going to be at the end of the day with the ag reserve? Are the people who bought out there to live in a rural agriculture area, are we going to preserve that? Are we going to preserve their way of life? That is what maintains the housing values out there. What are we going to do if we don't have enough drainage? I mean, what if there's a serious storm? Are we talking about that? Are we thinking about that? I appreciated the Resiliency Department's presentation, but we didn't talk about that portion of resiliency. So again, I really appreciate that you listened to me. I'm sorry I dragged your day on longer than you like, but thank you so much.
Mr. Martin, it's always a pleasure to have you here.
And then the final speaker will be Sheila Calderon.
Okay. I just need again to say that it is Sheila Calderon from Green Acres. I know I'm supposed to say that first, and good morning. That's my late today, right? Blame it on the gray hair. At any rate, as I said, I found this booklet. It says today, well, we're speaking today, as what Drew just, all the points that he made to you were made 10 years ago. We have consistently, not just this group of people here, but the group of people that have been commissioners before you, have consistently given away little piece by little piece by little piece. As long, and as Drew says, we know this is going to pass today, but we're looking at 3-story buildings. We're looking at a lot of concrete that shouldn't be put on the agricultural preserve. It's wrong. You cannot have it. It's incompatible. I won't even discuss the amount of traffic out there that Drew mentioned. I was recently out there because I go to that center on the corner of that big shopping plaza. There's a couple of nice places to eat there. At any rate, the traffic there is abominable. I think it took us at least 4 lights to get through to go home. It's just, it's crazy. We just can't keep doing this and giving away these properties and putting concrete where there should be land that we have preserved, that we can have the water that we need to have flowing as it should flow, the water that's needed for the agricultural reserve to remain an agricultural reserve, and on and on. They're all things that we have spoken about so many times, and as he said, I know you're listening, but at the point that you're going to pass this, it's a problem. And I do thank you for your time.
Thank you again for coming. All right, we have 2 motions before us. A motion to adopt a resolution approving an official zoning map amendment to allow rezoning from AGR to MUPD, subject to conditions of approval indicated in Exhibit C2, and a motion to approve a resolution approving Class A conditional use to allow a CLF, subject to the conditions of approval as indicated in Exhibit C3. Can I see a motion to approve? I have a motion by Commissioner Bernard. I have a second by Commissioner Kerner. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, all opposed, that is approved 7-0. Thank you, everybody. We do appreciate your comments. All right, we're going to move on now to item 11.
Item number 11 is DOA CA 2021-1576. It's the Melrose PUD Commercial. The request before the board is a development order amendment as well as a Class A conditional use to allow a Type 1 restaurant. The staff report is found under item J11 on pages 1 through 29, and conditions are found on pages 6 through 18, as well as our add delete. Staff does recommend approval of both of the requests, and I'll turn it over to the agent for a presentation, followed by staff.
Okay. I thought we were going to see Mr. Brophy one more time.
No, he's going to give me a chance here today.
Mr. Mayor, if I may. If we could do disclosures before the applicant's presentation?
Absolutely. I'm very happy to accommodate our legal counsel.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Commissioner McKinley.
Oh, number 11, my office received emails including a petition from the neighbors, and my staff and I spoke with and met with Jeff Brophy and Gerard Purser.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Marino.
Just received emails from residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I had verbal communication in a meeting with Jeff Brophy and Jared Purser, and I had email correspondence filed with the clerk.
Thank you. Commissioner Sacks?
Yes, I had verbal communications and meetings with Jeff Brophy, Jared Purser, and calls from the residents. I've received and filed the emails.
Thank
on
you.
Item 11.
Commissioner Bernard?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On item 11, I've had verbal communications with Jared Purser, Jeff Brophy, and Scott Backman, and I've received correspondence that will be filed with the clerk. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kerner?
Thank you, Mayor. On item 11, I met with Jeff Brophy and Jared Purser and received correspondence that's filed with the clerk.
Thank you. On Melrose PUD Commercial, I had some verbal communications with Mr. Brophy, Jared Purser, Scott Backman, and have multiple correspondence which are a part of the record. Okay, you're up.
All right, good morning, Jared Purser with WGI. We do have a brief presentation this morning, and our team is here to answer any questions.
Anybody need a presentation? I don't think anybody's racing for a presentation. Commissioner District.
With the petition and the items that we received, I think they should do a presentation.
Okay, very good. Commissioner McKinley would
Great.
like to see it.
No problem. So most of you are familiar with the location. We're at Armone Place and State Road 7, about a mile south of Hypoluxo. We're part of the approved Melrose PUD. This is the commercial prod that was originally approved back in 1979 and recently got site plan approval in 2020 for the commercial building. And just going back, you can see it's currently under construction for that commercial building, which is not changing with this application. This is just a shot of the commercial pod within the Melrose PUD master plan. The request today is to modify some of the square footages within the building, to modify a signage condition of approval, and then a Class A conditional use for the drive-through at the Type 1 restaurant at the north end of the building. So this is the approved site plan. You can see the building envelope, which is not changing with this request, and the square footages at the top right. The proposed site plan here, again, the building is not changing. We are adding the drive-through at the north end of the building, which is the main change with this application. And then this slide just shows the difference, the proposed site plan on the left-hand side and then the square footages on the right side compared to the approved plan. Essentially taking about 3,500 square feet from the Type 2 restaurant and distributing that to Type 1 restaurant and retail use. The small increase in the total square footage is these outdoor dining areas that are designated in front of each of the restaurant uses. This graphic just shows the drive-through at the north side. The access points on Armone Place are not changing from the approved plan. A couple of the neighbors have asked about a traffic light, and we do have a condition of approval requiring the county will do a traffic study after final CO, after which time, if the traffic signal is warranted, it will be installed at the cost of the property owner. Meeting all Palm Beach County standards. These are a few items of the extensive outreach we've done with the neighbors and the POA over the past several months. Most of these items are related to the construction currently going on site for the approved commercial building. As you can see, we've repaired lighting to the Melrose Park entrance sign, even though that wasn't determined to be related to our construction. Same with the irrigation system and pump. The existing pump was over 20 years old. The property owner replaced that, as well as a lot of irrigation equipment on site and for the surrounding neighborhood. There were some drainage issues on the neighboring properties. Those were not related to our project or the construction on site. Those are existing conditions that have been going on for a long time, but the property owner and the engineer of record did look into that and determine it was not part of our construction. Some intermittent power outages that were not determined to be related to our construction. One of the concerns was the 6-foot wall. So there is a 20-foot buffer on the east perimeter that will have a berm and a 6-foot wall on top of the berm. So that has not been constructed yet because in the sequence of construction, it hasn't been permitted, but that is anticipated to be installed within the next 2 to 3 months. And that is a required item that will be constructed on site. The operating hours, a couple of the neighbors asked about that. We have a condition of approval. The businesses are limited to 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily for all of the businesses. And then again, the traffic light, we do have a condition of approval that if that's required after CO, the property owner is responsible for the full cost of that construction. And then the effect on neighboring property values. We anticipate an increase in the neighboring property values. Currently, the site is vacant. Again, it's under construction for the approved commercial building, and we feel that will add a lot of value and convenience to the neighbors. We have a letter of approval from Cobra. We met with them in January. And Zoning Commission recommended unanimous approval earlier this month. And staff recommends approval now with the conditions of approval in the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Purser. We appreciate those remarks. Did this stay in District 5 or is it in District 6 now? It's 5? Okay.
It's in 5 now.
Oh, it's still in 5. Okay. Commissioner Sacks.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have a number of residents here who wish to speak? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, we do. We have about 11 cards on this item, I believe.
Because I know, Mayor, that we have received hundreds of emails in opposition to this application. So I'd like to reserve some of my remarks until the folks have spoken about this. And then if we could bring up the applicant again afterwards. Because I think it started out as pretty much approved. And then we received just in the last couple of days, numerous emails in opposition to it. So I'd like to hear what the people have to say about it. And then I would like to reserve my remarks till that time.
Thank you, Commissioner Sacks, and we certainly will give you the opportunity to respond after we hear from the public. And Commissioner Kerner, 11 cards, let's do it.
Okay. All righty.
Would staff like to make a presentation?
Would you like a presentation from staff?
I thought we were pretty much there, but okay.
It's very short.
Okay.
I can just summarize it. So Mr. Brophy's staff had already gone through the site location. It is part of an overall plan unit development that was originally approved in the late 70s. It is the commercial pod that got a site plan approval in 99. The specific commercial pod of the PUD is just under 5 acres, and the request is to modify the prior conditions of approval for the shopping center, as well as add a Class A conditional use for the Type 1 drive-through restaurant. Again, this is the general location. It is under construction, nearing completion. And the site plan, as you can see on the left side of the screen, was the previously approved plan and very similar to that which is on the right side of the screen, which is the proposed site plan. The modification includes the location of the Type 1 restaurant, which is on the very northernmost side of the building, with the drive-through coming around from the back, moving up along the north towards the west. And that's how the traffic flow would be for the restaurant. At time of publication of this application, we had received only one contact from the public, and since then we've received multiple along with the petition. And Zoning Commission had recommended approval of the proposed requests, and that staff does continue to recommend approval of both of the requests before the board.
Thank you. In addition to the staff recommendation, we have the zoning commission recommendation by a unanimous vote.
Correct.
Okay. Commissioner Kerner?
Thank you, Mayor. The first speaker will be Lance Foreman. And we can use this microphone to your left, sir. Following Mr. Foreman, we'll have Patricia Trow to the microphone to your right. And then David Slavic.
Good morning. Before I speak, do you need physical copies of the petition that was emailed to all of you? We do have that if you need.
You can deliver it to the clerk.
Please.
And what, oh, okay, so request to receive and file?
Without objection.
Without objection.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
If I may. My name is Lance Foreman. I live in Melrose Park. Can you hear me now, please? Okay. My name is Lance Foreman. I live in Melrose Park. The objection that I have is to the drive-through. Okay, and that's the main objection here. We see that adversely affecting our properties, and we see that could actually bring our property values down. Let me explain. Our community and the community next door to us both share Armon Place as a major exit and entrance to our communities. And what happens is the new shopping center will be using that entrance as well. And the entrances and exits to the commercial center are very close to each other, right near the entrance of 441. Now, we see that there's going to be a potential gridlock forming here, obviously, from when the drive-through is operating. That's what's going to happen is, naturally, there's some lines that form. We don't know what exactly is going to be there. Imagine being a coffee-like restaurant. Imagine like a Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts in the morning coming northbound on 441. We see a lot of traffic forming there, causing a backlog and creating gridlock onto Armon, and also throughout the day, and creating issues for us having entrance and exit to our communities. This hurts just average daily lives, and also when we try to sell our homes, this can also dissuade purchasers for seeing this and so forth, and that can bring property values down and so forth. That's our main objection there. We see that can create a dangerous situation. There's no traffic light there. We see the traffic issue forming on Armon Place and impacting our communities and so forth in our daily lives. The solution to this could be that if they want to have the drive-through there, simply just have another entrance there directly onto 441. That way you have the entrance and exits onto Armon and also onto 441, relieving the traffic burden that's going to be on that road. That is our major objection at this time. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Staff, is that entrance onto 441 permissible?
The current configuration is the only access allowed onto 441.
Very good. Commissioner McKinley?
Can we ask staff that affected map, can you, while they're talking to us about this entrance exit, can you pull it up on the GIS system and show a bigger blow-up version of it?
Can I go on GNF?
Thank you.
You need to switch to Edge. No longer supported.
Go to PVC Gov. Just go to W.
While they're doing that, the other speakers can continue.
All right, following Patricia Trow, we'll have David Slavic.
Good morning. My name is Patricia Trow, and I've been a resident on Melrose Park now for 7 years. To approve this zone change and to allow for a drive-through restaurant onto the Melrose Park shop outlet will have great impact on Melrose Park itself as we know it today. It's a rural community. Our roads and the estate layout cannot cope with the anticipated traffic. It's not all going to go out of the 441. It will filter through Melrose Park. The 441 Armon Place concerns us also at the peak traffic times. You'll have customers that are using the outlet along with Verona Lakes and Melrose Park's residents leaving and returning for work. The proposed layout and Armone Place, they're not sufficient to cope with a popular drive-in restaurant. There's no traffic lights as yet, and Armone Place itself is nothing more than an access outlet rural country road for the two communities. And it will certainly create conflict of traffic. Melrose Park itself will become a bigger filter as it is today as a shortcut to Lyons Road. And this is very concerning. We are not a gated community as of today. And so the traffic going through there could be quite enormous. The roads are very narrow, 9.6. We have no street lighting that could cope with a late opening drive-through. And again, we are rural. We do have concerns as well about the amenities, which are just down from the outlet. They are private amenities, very open for the residents, but we do feel that if the outlet customers decide to take Melrose Park as a shortcut, these amenities will be seen and they'll be noticed. And, oh, this is nice, we'll pull in here, we'll walk around, and that will again cause many problems. And so, you know, this is our major objection on this, and I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Staff, can you just summarize the conditions in C1, 12, and 13 with respect to traffic?
As a condition, they are conditioned to put a surety for a signal at Armond Place and State Route 7, as well as adding a left turn lane at their driveway, so that the traffic, the commercial traffic doesn't bother the through traffic to the community.
And you're satisfied that that's going to
Correct.
address any additional traffic that's going to be triggered by this?
Correct. We have had them done the queue analysis for those left turns so that they don't overflow out to the through lanes, and we had made sure that that will be the case. They will be on the exclusive left turn lane. All the vehicles trying to get into the plaza, shopping plaza, will be on that left turn lane, and that will not interfere with the true traffic to the community.
Thank you. Commissioner McKinley, you're recognized.
I'm just looking. Oh, that's old.
Okay. Commissioner Sachs?
Thank you. Let's continue on. Could you indicate on the map where's Melrose Place on the map?
It's that square brown construction site.
Do we have
That's
a
the
pointer
commercial.
that will indicate where it's at?
It disappeared.
It rebooted.
Okay. While you're looking for it, let me ask you a couple of questions, if I could. Mayor, may I, while they're looking for it? Many times when there is a drive-through, especially if it's a coffee shop, there's a line of cars waiting on the road to get in. Have you conducted engineering studies on this road to show that that will not occur, or are we not sure?
No, we haven't done the drive-through analysis, but I think the ULDC has a requirement for how many spaces they need to provide the drive-through lane, and that's what they have provided.
I'm not talking about parking spaces.
Right.
Have we done an engineering study on the traffic result of having a drive-through off of 441?
In general,
Have we or not?
no, we haven't done the
Okay,
study,
that's it.
but
So we have
correct.
not yet done a study of what will occur on a drive-through, especially if it's a coffee drive-through, on 441. We have not yet.
It is indirectly done in the sense that the trip generation that the consultants have used, that already takes care of the drive-through traffic
My
as well.
concern is this.
Yes.
We have not done a study, but the applicant has done a study. Is that correct?
Correct. They have done the study.
How long would it take for us, as the county, to do a study as to what will occur with traffic coming into a drive-through? I mean, it's probably, could very well be a coffee shop, right? How long would it take for us to do this study? It seems like this is a big issue on this application.
Yeah, it's actually not a field study. Even the consultants that they have done this study, it's not a field study they have done. It's done through the regular process, of using the trip generation. That takes care of the drive-through of a facility, drive-through coffee shop.
I'm trying to understand, and
Yes.
I apologize, I'm not an engineer. Has the county done a study of the traffic that will occur with the drive-through from 441 as applied for by this applicant? Just have we or not?
Not a
Okay,
field study.
that's all I need to know.
Correct.
Thank you very much, that's all.
Commissioner, can I just add to that?
One moment, Mr. Brophy. Where is the location on this parcel of the drive-through that we're discussing? Is it in the front, is it in the back, on the side?
It's on the northernmost side, closest to the red line.
All right, so if
There's a little
there's
dark
a-
black line, because it's under construction, so on this aerial anyway, where there's right parallel to the line, because every time I touch this, I guess it reboots, so.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, there's a red line, the northernmost property line, and just south of it, it looks like there's a dark line where their construction is. In that area, that's the northernmost portion of the building, and it's just under 2,000 square feet that's proposed.
So the parcel itself will be a loading area for those cars coming off the main road, am I correct?
The building travels south, it's almost shaped like an eye, but the drive-through comes on the eastern side eastern side of the building, and then goes up and around on the northern side where the window would be.
The only entry is off of,
The southern portion, there's two ingress egress off of Armour Place.
so again, just to clarify for me, cars coming in to the drive-through would essentially go all the way up north and then find whatever that restaurant or coffee shop, or whatever it is, but the backup, if it was created, would be entirely on that. How many cars do you think that would accommodate for loading in that spot? Mr. Brophy, do you have a number for me?
So I do know. What you're asking is really what is the stacking from the drive-through, the point of service to Armon? I think that's the issue, is are cars going to come and stack on Armon? The code requirement is 7 stacking spaces. On the site plan, we show 10. However, there is an additional 200 feet of driveway between the end of that 10th space down to Armon. So essentially, there is 30 car spaces of stacking between the point of service and Armon, which is over 4 times code.
Okay, so it's going to take quite a few cars before they are out on the main drag.
Correct. There's more than sufficient than for any use that I know of for a drive-through.
Commissioner Sachs for a follow-up?
Thank you. So let's talk about this. You said that the standard was 7, but there's going to be 10 at this one.
Graphically, we showed 10 on the site plan. However, there is an additional 200 feet of drive aisle between the end of that 10th space and Armon.
What I like to see is I know that cars stack up for coffee shops, Starbucks or whatever it is. 441 is a very highly frequented highway. What I want to see, and I haven't yet, is if you have, say, 30 cars wanting to get in to get a cup of coffee, because this is a site that will not have a sit-down inside. This is only drive-through, right?
it has a sit-down. It will be, the size of the interior would be similar to what you've described as a coffee shop, which would be like a typical Dunkin' Donuts layout. So it would be minimal interior for the most part for the drive-through.
But you could just have the inside restaurant, coffee shop, and take away the drive-through.
Well,
I mean, if this is a big issue with folks
yeah.
on 441, and it seems like staff has not yet done a study as to what will occur on a fast, frequented highway of 441, which is not a county, it's state.
Yep.
So we don't know when they're going to widen it. So this would mean that, since we haven't even done the study, you could proceed with this, but take away the drive-through.
Well, under the way that the world is operating today and the way restaurants are going, you're seeing not just the coffee shops wanting drive-throughs, but all of them, Panera Breads and Chipotle, and so everyone's including a drive-through. So Dunkin' Donuts isn't going to go into a location like this, or Starbucks without a drive-through. It's just that's the reality. But we've been in the system for quite some time. We've been working with the residents for a while. We understand, and actually we've been working through COBRA. We've been working through the HOA. We were very surprised at the comments that came up this week, and that's why we've expressed to staff that we would really appreciate to continue the conversations that we've had, because we've thought we've been very transparent and open with the community. And if there's residents of the community that need additional discussion with and additional analysis, we're happy to wait the time that we need to. We're not trying to push this down on anybody in regards to decision making.
You have very good reputation in terms of your veracity in coming before the board, and I would certainly not be adverse to continuing the conversation with because we have a staff. I don't know about the other commissioners, but
Ms. Brophy, I'm going to interrupt
Sure, go ahead.
Commissioner Sachs for a moment. Are you asking for postponement at this point so that you can have additional time to work with the neighborhood, or you want to push through?
No, we would like additional time to discuss with the community. If there's folks in the community that don't feel that they've been represented by the HOA reps that we've been talking to, we would love to continue the conversation with them.
Commissioner Sachs, do I hear a motion?
Yes, I'd like to move, and thank you very much for that, because I'd like to move that we postpone this to a date certain so that we can have, so that the applicant, okay. June? So the applicant can have
Yes.
a little further discussion with the folks, and I agree with that.
Commissioner Kerner, you're recognized.
Thank you. I haven't been terribly involved in this item, but given the concerns that the district commissioner has, I do think that there's a legitimate basis, a legitimate decision for the board to consider here about whether this is appropriate or not. But we do have a lot of members of the community here today. I would much prefer to hear from them before there's a motion to table this or to postpone it until the June hearing. And, I have to hear all the evidence, but, I'm very deferential district commissioner and their perspective, and right now, there are some concerns that I have, so I'd like to continue to hear from the community and then make a decision.
Okay, thank you,
I agree
Commissioner
with
Kerner.
listening to it.
I'm going to go ahead and continue with the public comment, but certainly you've heard the remarks from the dais. It looks like this is going to be postponed until June. If that satisfies you at this point, then there's no need to come back up. If you still feel that you would like your 3 minutes, you are more than welcome to come up. And so, Mr. Commissioner, would you call our next guest?
Yes, Mayor. So we'll have Mr. David Slavic and then Monica Benedict to the microphone to your right.
Hey, good morning. How are you? David Slavic. I've lived in Melrose for about 7 years. I have a couple questions. Are you all able to pull up Figure 6 on the application here? It's the one that sort of shows the Melrose Park community with the Lions and the 441 entrance. We think that's important because it's not a gated community. And so we're anticipating a lot of through traffic. We're already seeing a lot of through traffic since the construction began in the neighborhood. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. There was a delivery truck that drove through, knocked over some of the residents' mailboxes, ran into a guard post for a fire hydrant. and then broke down on the road as we're trying to get our kids to school, and folks are out walking their dogs, and we have a 18-wheel truck just passing through from Lyons to 441. This is a community that has a lot of young kids in it, 12, 13, 14, biking around, going to the lake. We're seeing more garbage showing up in the neighborhood from people that don't live there but are just entering in through 441. Some of the other things here. Okay, so yes, it's up now. You can see there that there's the Lyons entrance to your right, which is where we saw that truck go through, and I'll let my neighbor continue with that if she'd like afterwards. But really, we would like to push back, especially on the Dunkin' Donuts. I do think that with the ingress and egress only on Armone, I think you'll see traffic stacking up coming through from Lyons. 441 is an exploding thoroughfare. I grew up on 441 before moving into Melrose, and I've never seen it busier. It's hard enough to get my kids to school, get out of the neighborhood. Now we're going to throw a shopping center and a fast food drive-through in there. It's going to be, in my very respectful opinion, a very challenging situation for residents with kids, creating, in my opinion, an unsafe environment, which I've already seen because trucks are running into people's property on Tallway Circle there. So thank you. I appreciate you postponing until June, and I will go manage my kid over here. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Following Ms. Benedict, we'll have Mr. Brent Benedict to the microphone to your left.
Good morning. My name is Monica Benedict. I live in Melrose Park. I am against of this change of permit because this is the only exit. Plus, I live right there, so while they ask for their coffee, then at night I'll be listening through my bedroom. And I would like to suggest that they would put a 10-foot burn in addition of the 6-foot wall to cause more privacy to the neighborhood, and also to buffer some of the noise that would be coming through the shopping center. Shop centers, they are nice, and I love them. The thing is that this whole community here exit there in the morning to go to work, and it's going to be very crowded because of the trafficking. And thank you for listening to us. Your questions, I'm happy to meet you, because your questions went right in the spot. And thank you. Thank you. Jesus
Thank you
bless
for your
all.
comments. We appreciate them.
Following Mr. Benedict, we'll have Michael Saudstein to the microphone to your right.
Hi, my name is Brent Benedict. I live at 9865 Callan Court in Melrose Park. I want to thank the county commissioners for the opportunity to speak today. This is my first time speaking at one of these meetings. It's very interesting, and I'm glad that we can voice our opinion. And I'm glad that we now have raised attention to this matter. The only reason that we're aware of this is because there's certain residents, I am one of them, that got a notice because we're within 300 feet of the proposal. A lot of our residents would not have known about it. So at the zoning committee, we didn't raise enough awareness. We had to rush. We don't have all the resources of developers. So now we've gone through a grassroots effort. You've seen the petition. We got over 300 signatures from our community. Our communities are made up of over 500 homes. I have a speech written, but I'm not gonna read it because it's sort of re-echoing what everybody has said. This is a residential community where a commercial development is being put right next to it. Okay? I know the commercial development was approved many years ago. It's fine, I understand that. I'm not combating that. It wasn't approved to have a drive-through restaurant. I think it really needs to be investigated. It's really, if you look at the map, you're putting a drive-through in people's backyards, essentially. You're putting a drive-through in an entrance where all our communities go in and out. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Really, we have to think about responsible development. Is this responsible development? I'm not opposed to drive-throughs. Drive-throughs have their proper place. Normally, they're in a separate commercial development that has their own entrance and exit. This does not. This is the same entrance and exit that our communities use every day, take our kids to school, go to work. That is the main thing that I want you to keep in mind. I also want to mention some of the comments from the developer that they've been working with us. Yes, they had meetings with us. They said, okay, we'll do this, we'll do that, or we'll look into it. We've never heard anything concrete from them on some of the other issues that we've had. They talk about drainage, it's existing. If you look at the development there, they built up over 6 feet from our properties. So, and then they also mentioned that they didn't hear anything negatively from our board. Just to let you know, some of the board members from our association have signed a petition. So I don't think that they're in support of any proposed amendment for a drive-through restaurant. So I just want to thank the commissioners for allowing us to speak. I know you're postponing it until June. A lot of people travel, so I just wanted to make sure that I get my opinion voiced and that you're aware of it, and thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time to come up to visit with us today, and I think, as Mr. Brophy said, they are going to give you an opportunity over the next 60 days to work with them.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The final speaker after Mr. Saudstein will be Paul Watts, to the microphone to your left.
Hi. Can you put up the other floor plot plan that was there before? And I'm Mike Goldstein. I live at Verona Lakes, and I use that entranceway that's not the one with the showing the drawing of the two. Okay, even that one. The only entrance is on the south side, the two there. And then you want to put a drive-through on the other side. So, of course, there's plenty of rooms for the cars to be there, but they all gridlock at the intersection of Armon and 441. A light would not even take care of the problem. That intersection, that Armon Road, is only 3 lanes. It's got a entrance, exit, and a left turn. There's no streetlights there. The reason why they had to fix the sign is because people can't find the street if that Melrose sign is not lit up. And I don't see where people are going to park their cars and where people are going to have a drive-through in the back of that end of the road, on the north side. They should really make a direct entrance onto 441, and that would relieve the issue of Amman, and I don't even think it's appropriate for a drive-through, because look how small that parking lot is. How do people park their car and drive through that parking lot? You're going from south to north on the whole side, and then they get their drive-through, and then they come back on the front side, going all the way to Amman, and now they're all congested, trying to get out, to try to make a left turn, to try to make even a right turn, because the road is so small. It's not made for that kind of commercial use. And I think, that they should respect the people that live there every day. And I thought that this was going to be an upscale plaza, a quiet plaza. I mean, we didn't have a choice that it was being built, but at least, we don't need the chaos that's going to be coming from all the traffic and people and the popularity of the people. And thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
And our final speaker, Mr. Watts.
Thank you for letting me speak. I can only say that much of what's already been said here is by the residents is absolutely correct. That is not an entrance for a shopping plaza that should have any kind of a drive-through restaurant in it. The light would not even begin to address the traffic problems that are going to occur there. And not just the traffic at that site, but traveling through the neighborhood. My kids play in this neighborhood, and there's already people who don't live there that drive through that neighborhood and don't respect the traffic rules or the laws or the speed. And furthermore, a light is not really going to fix the problem. What really needs to happen is what they proposed, a separate entrance. And so that there's no access from the road that we travel in and out of our neighborhood every day to get into this shopping plaza. The best option would for a separate entrance completely, build another bridge and let them deal with the traffic that goes in and out of that place, not us. It shouldn't be put on us. It simply shouldn't. And if you guys don't mind, my kids have some things they'd like to say also.
Absolutely.
Lean into the microphone.
Thank you for letting me speak. I would say, like, if you build a fast food restaurant there, it will attract other pests and rodents that are unwanted by our residents. Also, the traffic could get worse, and I know some friends that like to play around, and I would hate for someone to get hurt.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Commissioner Sacks, you are recognized for a motion to postpone to June 23rd.
So moved.
Do I have a second? I have a second by Commissioner Marino. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor, all opposed, we are postponing this item to June 23rd. Thank you, everybody, for coming in, for your comments. They certainly have been heard. Commissioner Sacks certainly is a strong advocate on behalf of you, and the rest of us are certainly listening to your comments.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner McKinley, you are recognized.
Thank you. In the meantime, one issue that the homeowners brought up in some of their emails to us was the issue of a school bus stop. I'd like to direct staff to bring those concerns over to the school district. What I'm being told is the school bus has to exit that community. They go across 3 lanes, then sit in the median at 441 to turn left to go southbound. I'd like the school district to double check the location of that bus stop and how that traffic is moving, especially in light of what's happened in my district recently. Mr. Mayor, I've got an emergency in my district and I must exit the meeting, so I'm going to leave. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner McKinley. All right, we are going to move on now. Actually, we're pretty much done, but we will get my agenda back here. All right. I'm going to look for any comments from the county attorney.
None, sir.
Zoning director.
No?
That's a...
Planning director.
We will see you on May 4th.
Okay. Executive director.
No comments.
Assistant county administrator.
No comments.
Commissioner comments. We'll start from my left. Commissioner Sacks.
Thank you so much. I do have to amend who I spoke with, the verbal communications, and item number 7 for the record. I'd like to include 2 other names, if I may, at this time, Mr. Mayor. That would
Certainly.
be Jennifer Morton and Lauren McClellan. And thank you very much. And everything's good.
Everything's good.
Thank you. Everything's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Bernard is off the dais. Commissioner Kerner.
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Marino.
Thank you. As you all may have read in the paper, we have had countless Loggerhead Marine Life Center is having some issues right now, and there have been countless articles in the newspaper, and this is a longstanding project between the county and Loggerhead Marine Life. They do sit on county property. We've invested money with the Marine Life Center over the years. There are a lot of people that are scrambling right now to come up with answers, so I'm just asking a little bit of patience with our staff and our commission while we wade through parks, there's the center itself, funding, and everything of that nature. But I just want you to know that District 1 is on top of this, and let's save the turtles.
Very good, Commissioner Marino. We appreciate you being on top of it, and we'll wait for your response to the Post article.
Thank you. And that's all I have to say.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of District 4, I am going to be requesting an off-site proclamation declaring April 25th, 2022 as Parental Alienation Awareness Day.
I have a second by Commissioner Kerner. All in favor, all opposed, show that approved 6-0.
Thank you. And just honestly, I wasn't going to say anything about it and just write a letter to the school district, but after Commissioner McKinley's comments, yesterday I was going out to a meeting for Cobra and driving out on Hypaluxo Road, and it was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and saw groups of children, looked like high school age children, standing at the entrances to their communities right on the edge of Hypaluxo Road on the sidewalks. I mean, groups of anywhere from 15 to 20 to maybe even 30 children standing right alongside that roadway where you have a 45-mile-an-hour limit. And it was really disconcerting to think about a vehicle, somebody losing, just for a second losing control, and those children are standing right there. So I think it's really incumbent upon our school district to look at where their school bus stops are being placed, and so I've asked, as these projects come through, every time they do come through and it's a residential project, I always ask about having, if it's a multifamily, that there's going to be a place to pick up and drop off those kids inside and off the roadways, and clearly can see the example of what happens when they don't do that, and I think it puts our children needlessly at risk.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Bernard, you were absent when we were asking for any comments?
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Commissioner Sachs, I see you have your light on.
Yes. I think that what Vice Mayor said and what Commissioner McKinley said was very apt. We have, it's all over the county, and I wonder if we should, what is the protocol now? Should we write a letter to the, do we have enough consensus in this board to write a letter to the school district to at least examine and re-examine the school bus stops? I know on Clintmore Road, it's right on Clintmore Road, and there's no sidewalk. The kids just stand out there. And I don't want to go on and on and on, but maybe we should ask the school district to review these issues within the county to see, in light of increased traffic and also the accidents that have occurred, what would be the protocol, Mayor?
Well, we can do one of two things, Commissioner. One, we can each individually, of course, send a letter to the school board, or this board can ask me as your mayor to send one on behalf of the commission, and we could have staff help us write a letter that would, again, incorporate our concerns about the bus stops, especially in light of the tragedy in District 6.
I would prefer, Mayor, if you would initiate that, and I think it goes to the school district. They have an office that takes care of school bus and the stops and the safety. I think it would be appropriate in light of what the Vice Mayor mentioned and Commissioner McKinley.
All right, well, I will take that as direction without objection, that I'll send a letter with Superintendent Burke also copied onto that letter, and letting him know of our concerns. Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Sachs. All right, I'm going to finish up. Today is Yom HaShoah, which is Holocaust Remembrance Day. It certainly is important to remember, or hopefully never again. Anti-Semitism is actually rearing its ugly head right here in our community. We've seen situations down in South County where people are receiving hate items on their doorstep, pro-Nazi. It's really amazing that in this day and age we're still dealing with that kind of problem. Holocaust awareness is certainly part of the curriculum in our schools, and it's important that we continue to make sure that we are friendly to one another and we acknowledge each other's differences and not create hate among each other. On that note, we are adjourned.